So Bolt just released 3 huge new features today in the drop of Bolt version 2. So today I want to take you through all of the new features, how to get started building an app with Bolt version 2, and why this might be the best tool to start building your app today. And there's a few reasons why this is really different from any other all-in-one app building platform. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design. And with that said, let's jump straight into Bolt version 2 and see what it can do.
Build great products. Build great products.
So this is Bolt version 2, and on the surface it just looks exactly the same as the regular version of Bolt, but I'm going to break down exactly why this is different, why this is such a huge deal, and why this might be the best place to actually start building your apps today. Now there's a few things that I want to go over first before we jump into Bolt and actually start building things, just to break down why this is such a big change and why this release will actually unlock a huge amount of people building apps and making money with apps without all of the technical headaches that people were having before. So the problems with vibe coding tools so far really have been that vibe coding tools generally, like going beyond the prototypes, is hard. You have to connect to all these other tools in order to add stuff to your app. You have to connect Supabase for a database and authentication, and your backend you can use maybe Clerk for authentication as well. You have to connect to services with API keys like OpenAI, and then you have to deploy your app to a domain as well using a separate service. All of this generally happens outside of the platform that you're actually doing it with, and so if you've built with Bolt or other tools before, you might have found that actually getting over those technical hurdles can be pretty hard. And so sitting in between here are these like all-in-one tools, and you can use these all-in-one tools are great, that they have like database and all of this stuff built in, but there is a problem with that, in that these tools often have like fairly unscalable infrastructure, and that means like poorly built databases. It's difficult to manage hundreds or thousands of users, and costs escalate very rapidly because they're not set up to actually deploy production grade apps. And by production grade, I just mean like apps that can scale to like thousands of users. And you don't want to start building an app to have it then be a success only to be limited by the actual platform that you started building it in the first place. There's all these hidden limitations, basically. Like you get stuck in one platform, you get stuck with like platform specific agents or coding capabilities. You have no access to the latest developer tools or like the best coding agents in the world. A lot of people want to use Claude Code, but they can't use Claude Code if you're using other platforms to actually build your app with. And you can't edit the code manually, or a lot of the time you can't access the code and edit it. And to be honest, like some of these agents in these AI app building tools are kind of a bit rubbish, and they don't perform as good as like Claude Code or other coding agents. And so Bolt version 2 is really changing the game with this. So Bolt version 2 is like taking a different approach to an all-in-one platform, and I think this is the right way forward. And the path that they're taking here is that they're really partnering with the best-in-class solutions to bring all of that functionality into the Bolt product. So instead of having a database that they created inside their platform, they're building in Supabase database. So that is all integrated into Bolt version 2 for you. You don't have to worry about connecting Supabase. You get a Supabase database inside of Bolt already connected. They're partnered with them, and you can manage that all within Bolt. You also get built-in Supabase authentication. So this again is like scalable authentication, not just a basic authentication service that you're using in your app. You can export your code at any time to GitHub, which means you're not locked into that platform. You can take that code elsewhere and work on it in another tool if you want to. And then two really big things here as well is that you can deploy directly using Netlify without having to go to Netlify or Vercel as another service and then deploy using their infrastructure. You can just do that directly from Bolt. And the main thing here is that finally an app building tool has built in Claude Code and Codex. And what that means is that you're not just getting like a random or like a self-built coding agent in this tool. You're getting the best in the world coding agent in Bolt to build your apps with. And you don't have to do anything, you just have to start using Bolt version 2. And this is really good for building complex apps. Building complex stuff like agent apps, it will make that so much easier. You'll be able to see when we go through building, it will plan stuff out in order, go through the steps in the plan, and then let you build that up. And so finally, what does this mean for you? Well, I think finally we're getting to this point where we might have like a tool to finally just build everything in one place and actually get scalable infrastructure for your app, access to the best coding agents in the world, and no weird like hidden limitations once you hit a certain point. A lot of the time with these tools, people will start building and they'll get to a point where they find, well, actually, I can't get my code out and use it in another tool. I can't actually scale this database. I don't have access to all the controls that I need. And now that people are actually using the app and paying for it, I can't actually make the changes that they want without causing a whole host of other issues as well. And so this could be the first tool to finally let everybody build any app they want in one place. Now, I'm sure there will be a little bit of teething issues here, but this is a really promising release from Bolt to help you build an app just in one place with production grade infrastructure built into the platform. So let's put a prompt into Bolt version 2 and actually see what it can build for us. So what I want to build is like an AI chat app, basically, that lets me create AI agents and then chat to those individual AI agents separately in different chats. And this would be like a more complex setup because we have to build agents into our app and we have to give each of those agents instructions, and we have to allow the user to create a new agent and then give that agent instructions in order for them to chat with them as well. So this can be pretty complex to actually set up. My prompt here I've broken down using my prompt framework, so I give it context of what I want to build. I want to build a chat app that lets me create AI agents that advise me on different things in my life. I then break down the user journey, so the app should have a dashboard with a left-hand navigation that lets me see my chats with different agents. I can click create agent to create a new agent, and when I click create assistant, it should show me a pop-up with one text field asking me what type of agent I want to create, and one asking me what the goal of this assistant should be. The app would generate a system prompt for this agent on that information using AI following best practice for agent system prompts. So I'm giving it a bit of context of how it should actually do this, and then show me a chat interface with that assistant. And then at the end of the prompt, I always like to add a little bit of design direction here. So I'm just going to say, so at the end of the prompt, I always like to tell it what technology I want to use and also what design direction I want to give it as well. So I've just said use OpenAI for the AI functionality and follow the attached design for the style of the app as well. And I found this nice like dark mode UI that I wanted to use here. So I'm just going to copy and paste that into Bolt here as well. And then we'll send that prompt off to Bolt version 2 to build. And what you'll be able to see here on the left as this is working through it is it's now thinking, but it's going to go through and it's going to break down the plan to build this app first, and then it's going to go through each of those steps, and we'll be able to see it working through the steps as it's building as well. There's a few things I want to take you through in the interface here to kind of get you familiar with what's going on so that you know what to do. You've got this little, so here we go, you can see on the left hand side it's put together a plan, and this is what it's going to be working through to actually create our app. In the chat here, you've got this plus icon down here, and this is where you can basically change between the coding model. So this has got Claude Code active, and it's called Claude Agent in here, and this gives you a bit of information about what this coding agent can actually do. You can go back to the original Bolt agent, but I would strongly recommend using Claude Code here for everything, and they're going to be building in Codex soon as well, so you'll have access to both Claude Code and Codex within Bolt. You can also enhance your prompts from this menu as well, which is highly recommended. I would do this for every time you're building a new big feature or a large amount of stuff in your app. I would recommend enhancing the prompt so that Bolt can better understand what to do here. You can also open the prompt library, and this will give you access to basically a load of different prompts that will help you build stuff. So you can build anything like standardized here from the prompt library, and that will help you build like very familiar patterns into your app. And you can also attach files or go to the help center from that menu as well. Looking at the rest of the interface here, you have a familiar setup here if you've used any of these app building tools where you have a link to your code. So this will show all of your code files and you can edit the code from here as well. You also have a link to your database here, which will open the project settings menu, and you get access to all of the information here as well. So this is going to be creating a database as it's creating our project. We'll be able to see our database here. One of the great things about what Bolt have done here is you're not locked into this platform. what you can do from this menu is you can actually transfer your database to Supabase at a later date if you do want to do that. If you do want to move away from Bolt and into building into a different tool, or using a different setup, or building your app in a different way, you can just move your database over to Supabase, and then you'll just be able to connect to Supabase from any other tool here instead. So you don't get locked into the same platform, which is a massive pain for a lot of other tools, and something that you're not told when you start using them. You also get your authentication, server functions, secrets, user management, file storage, knowledge, backups, so you can go back to previous backups of your app, which is great if you're building something and then it breaks and you go so far, like in your AI chat, that you kind of can't get back to the place where you started from. So it allows you to jump back to a previous point in time. And you get all of your personal settings down here as well, and analytics, which is great. So that will be on Bolt hosted projects. The other great thing about Bolt, which is still the same as what they had before, is that you can connect directly to a repository in your GitHub account if you do want to do that. If you do want to save your code elsewhere, which I would highly recommend if you are building an app and you want to kind of have a version of your code that is stored somewhere, or to be able to deploy it a different way using a different service. If you want to, you can create a GitHub directory there, but you don't need to do that. So if you don't know what that is, or you don't want to create a GitHub account, you don't have to do that at all. And you can also publish from here as well. So you can publish to a custom domain, or just publish it to like a staging domain in Bolt. And then along the top here, you've got all of your controls as usual to like reload the app preview, open the preview in a new tab. You have responsive mode, so you can like change the size of the app to view what it looks like in different screen sizes. And you have full screen, so you can see the full screen preview of the app that way as well. And so let's come back here once Bolt version 2 has built our app for us. Quick break in the episode to talk about my community for people who are building apps with AI and want to actually launch their app and get real customers. It's called the AI App Builders Academy. So if you're building an AI app with Bolt or Lovable or Cursor or any of these AI tools, and you actually want to make a profit and launch your app, then this is the community for you. Inside, you'll get access to a community of other builders, as well as my 30-day app course, helping you go from idea to app to a profitable launch in just 30 days. You'll also get access to weekly calls with live workshops and training, as well as all of my startup frameworks and resources, and 24/7 support from the community to help you answer any questions or problems you're having with building and launching your AI app. So if you're building an app with AI and you actually want to make a profit and launch your app, then head over to school.com/AI apps to find out more. I'll see you there. So as this app is building in Bolt, you can start to see why using something like Claude Code is so much more powerful than using a lot of the other coding agents out there. If I just go through a little bit of the chat here, you can see that first it said the app automatically generates intelligent system prompts based on this. Then it says, I'll refactor the chat interface component to improve code quality by breaking it down into smaller focused components. And then it's taken 10 actions here. It's written to these files here. And then it's reviewed that. It said, now let me create a refactored chat interface component. There's an issue with this hook. It's creating its own hook, and then it's reviewed that and edited the files. Now let me update the refactored chat interface to pass the initial chat, replace with a refactored version, run the build and check to ensure everything is working properly. Perfect. Now let me clean up by removing the original backup file, and it's got broken down how it's refactored this as well. So what I'm trying to get at here, without going like through all the detail of that code stuff there, is basically it's run this plan and built the app, and then it's created a summary, and in that summary it's kind of reviewed the app and then said, actually this isn't working quite right based on what I wanted to do, so let's go back and actually try and do this better. Let's refactor some code, let's rebuild this from the ground up, and let's try and create something better here. So it's improving the code as it goes, it's testing what it's creating, and that's helping to eliminate as many of these errors that we would usually get as possible. And so when you would usually do this, you might get a bunch of errors in your app that you then have to go back in and fix. And what we're getting here with Bolt version 2 is just the best in the world coding agent building our app for us, reviewing our code, handling all of this complex stuff on the left hand side, while we just think about the bigger picture of how we want our app to actually work. And in here you can see we've got our app login screen created here in this nice kind of like dark mode style. I actually went back to the original prompt because the first version of this that it created I didn't really like the design for, and I've just added in a bit more design direction here. So I told it to use some specific fonts that I liked, and I also said the app design should be neumorphic dark mode with professional and minimal layout. So it's created this kind of raised style for the buttons, which is quite nice for our chat agent app. Now, one thing we do need to do here, and I think this is going to be something that Bolt might integrate in future, but if you are building an app that you want to scale, if you are building an app that you want to get customers for, this is going to be something that you're going to have to tackle at some point anyway, is API keys. Because we asked Bolt to use OpenAI, we are going to have to go into our secrets and add our OpenAI API key here. What you can also see here though is because Bolt is using Supabase behind the scenes already, and their production grade kind of like backend and database and authentication, it's actually already added all of these keys for Supabase for us. So that is already set up for us in the project. We can also go into these other parts here and we see we've got authentication set up with email. If we go into our database, you can see we've got our tables in our database created, assistants, chats and messages. We might want to create a table in here for users as well. And then if you go into the advanced section here in database, you can see here is where you claim your database in Supabase, and that would migrate your database over to the Supabase platform instead if you did want to move it there in the future, so that you're not locked into Bolt. You can actually move it to Supabase. And we've got a backup here that has been created on this date as well, which is great. So let's go to OpenAI and get our API key, which is super easy. All you need to do is go to OpenAI, create an account, log into the API platform. So go to login and go to API platform. Once you've logged into your OpenAI account, just go to dashboard and then to API keys on the left hand side, and then create a new secret key. We're going to create a key called Bolt v2, and then I'm just going to create that secret key, copy that to my clipboard. Then we'll go back to Bolt, open our secret settings, and then add this API key in here, and then click create secret. Now that is the most technical thing that you're going to need to do here. And now we've got our OpenAI API key added here, and it's going to prompt us every time we need to add an API key like that, and we can now test our app. So we're basically going to test like signing up to our app that we've created here. So let's go sign up. I'm going to put in my email address here, and then we're going to click sign up. And now you can see we've got our chat assistant app here. We've got chats on the left hand side, we've got a list of chats there and assistants, and we can create our AI assistant. So let's see if this works. So let's click create assistant. We're going to say, I'm going to create, it's given me some examples here like health coach. I think health coach would be quite good. It's going to highlight, I'm going to create a personal trainer and see. And the goal is to help me feel better about my health and exercise regularly. Because, you know, I'm just sitting here like creating apps with AI all the time and not actually doing any exercise, which I should be doing as well. So let's create that assistant. Let's click create. Hopefully this will work here. Failed to generate system prompt. Okay, what's going on here? Let's have a look. So to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, copy that message and then do the classic, put it back into the chat here and see if Claude Code can fix it. Unfortunately, we didn't get this app working first time, but we do have a lot better code and a lot better functionality because of Claude Code actually building our app for us here. So let's say when I click create assistant, from the create assistant pop-up, I'm given this error. Can you identify why this is happening and fix the issue? So one of the good things to do here if you're trying to fix bugs in your AI app that you've built, and you will get them, this is not to say like Bolt v2 is the cure-all for like any bugs that you're going to get, but you are going to get a hell of a lot less bugs by using something like Bolt v2. One thing that I always do when I put my bugs back into the chat and get it to fix it is to give the agent, give the AI tool context of where the bug happened. So what did you do to cause the bug? And then I'm going to give it the error message, and then I'm also going to ask it to identify why this is happening or investigate the issue and then fix it. And that's going to help the agent basically have a bit more context as to what's happening, to go and investigate the issue and read some code files, and then it's going to put together a plan of how to fix that, rather than just trying to make a quick fix in the code. Generally, you're going to get better results that way. But you can see, and you can see here that it's investigating the issue with the system prompt. It's read these code files, request the code from this. I found the issue. Problem is with the authorization header. It's read this file, read that file, and then edited these files as well. So it's kind of going step by step to actually systematically kind of fix this bug that you're getting. And I would say that even building with the best coding agent in the world at the moment, you're still going to get bugs here. And so knowing how to fix them is a really, really good skill to learn when working with these tools. And I am also trying to build quite a complex app just from one prompt here. So it's not surprising that we didn't get it in one go. There are some issues here. Hopefully prompting this will fix the issue, and we're going to have a functioning app that we can chat to our AI assistants with. So it seems like it's fixed the error. It's broken down. Here's the root cause of the issue. Here are the fixes that it's applied. Now, when you click Create Assistant, the app gets your actual user session token, sends the proper authentication. System prompt is generated successfully. Assistant is created in the database. I'm just going to have a look at the database quickly here because I want to see, like, there's still no users table, which is interesting. And so I'm going to ask that question later because I do think there should be a list of users in the database that we're connecting these assistants to, basically. For now, let's try and create an assistant again. So let's do personal trainer, and let's say to help me feel good about myself and exercise regularly. It's a low benchmark that I've got here for my health goals. You can see it's not like I'm going to the gym every day. Definitely not. Amazing. Okay, so we've created our personal trainer assistant here. It's generated the system prompt and added that behind the scenes. I wonder whether we can go in here and edit that system prompt. I can click on the personal trainer and then start chatting. So, like, let's just say I want to create a weekly weekly exercise schedule. What do you need to help me do that? So let's send that message off. The agent is thinking here that we've created. So that's fantastic. Creating a weekly exercise schedule is we've got duplicate messages here for some reason, so there's an error happening there that we're going to want to fix. To help you design a personalized schedule, I'll need a bit more information. Fitness goals. Okay, once I have this information, so what I want to do is I want to actually allow the system prompt to be edited so that we can see the system prompt for our agents and actually edit them to make changes to the system prompt. So let's add in the ability for users to edit the system prompt generated for an agent. On the agent card, show an edit icon, and then which would open a pop-up allowing me to edit the system prompt and save it. So I'm actually going to stop that before it sends, and what I want to do is I want to show you the improve enhance prompt feature here. So let's click enhance prompt and see the enhanced prompt that we're getting here. So it's created a prompt here that says, you are a front-end developer tasked with implementing an editable system prompt feature for agent cards. Here are the specific requirements. The ability to edit the system prompt of an agent directly from the agent card modification, edit pop-up modal, functionality, technical considerations. Please provide the complete implementation, including HTML, CSS. I'm going to just get rid of that. I don't think we need to add that bit in there. But that is the enhanced prompt. Let's send that one off instead and see what it comes back with. This is a relatively straightforward feature, so you wouldn't think that it would have too much problem handling it. But if you are unsure at any point and you don't just want to send off like add editing the system prompt as like your prompt here, you can click enhance prompt and that will enhance your prompt, and that is going to give you much less chance of getting errors and bugs when you're building your app as well. It's basically going to format it as a bit like a kind of mini PRD, not a full PRD because they're big documents, but it's going to give it all of the information that it needs to build out a better version of that feature. So it's created a plan here for us, adding the edit icon to agent cards, create system prompt edit modal, implement save cancel functionality, add a database update functionality, add responsive design, and test and verify the complete feature. And it's working through those now. Whilst we're waiting for this to build this feature as well, one other thing that I want to share just about Bolt that you might not know if you've not used before is just from this settings icon up here, you can actually access, you access all the project settings, but you can access the direct integrations with Stripe and Supabase as well. I would actually recommend, if you're building payments into your app, to use something like Polar or Paddle instead, because they're a merchant of record and they will handle all of the international tax for you, and that can be often much easier than setting up Stripe and actually having to figure out all of the tax stuff that you're dealing with as well. But all of those platforms are relatively straightforward to integrate into your app as well. So this is now completed building our feature. This should reload the app, but we've got a complete editable system prompt feature implementation, key components created. It's broken down everything that it's done here for us. This is going to, I mean, sometimes it gives a little bit too much information, I'm not going to lie. Claude Code is very verbose in its responses back. It's going to reload the app there, and then you can see here we've got this little edit icon when I hover over this, which is going to open up the system prompt here, which we can then go in and make any changes to this system prompt, make any changes to this system prompt for this agent, and then save those changes. That will save the changes back. We can go into chats here as well, and we've got a list of our chats, and we've also got a sign out link at the bottom as well there. So let's create another assistant just to see how this works. Let's do a startup co-founder. So the goal is to help me scale my app business to a $1 million exit. Let's create this assistant, why not? Let's create the assistant and let's have a chat with this assistant, see if it can give us a plan. I'll just say break down a plan for me to scale this chat app to $1 million exit. Break down a full plan for me to scale this chat app to a $1 million exit. Let's send that message off to the startup co-founder. I want to have a look at the system prompt that's built for this as well, just out of interest. Okay, here we go. So we've got a full plan here. It's output. This is Markdown. So we want to do some fixing with like the formatting of this. It said it's an ambitious yet achievable goal. Well, thank you. I know AI is like very optimistic and positive and supporting, and so this may not be realistic, but at least that's why maybe we need to edit the system prompt here, or like give it a little bit more direction when we click create assistant. So your primary role is to provide actionable insights. Start best practices to follow. Your goal is to empower the user to make informed decisions. I would change that, but yeah, it's created these agents. It's actually like feels pretty slick and it's pretty decent. We've got our chat history here. We can go back into to see our chats. We can edit the system prompts for these agents, and we can create any new agents on our accounts. And the last thing I want to talk about here with Bolt version 2 is deployment. So how do you actually deploy this to a custom domain? And they're doing this all with Netlify behind the scenes. So instead of actually going to Netlify and deploying via Netlify, or going to Vercel and deploying via Vercel, you can do it all in the Bolt platform. So if you go to publish in the top right and you just click publish here, that will publish your app to a staging domain, basically, where you can preview it, test that it works, share the project with other people, and then if you click this custom domain button, you can either buy a domain, which you can buy it through this domains and hosting panel here, or you can click publish, go and add a domain that you own. So connect a domain that you own to your deployed environment. You just paste your custom domain in there, click verify, and that will allow you to connect your own domain. And you can just go to this staging URL here if you want to test your project on that link as well. So that is Bolt version 2. And now that we've built an app that has AI agents in that we can chat to, I'm going to finish up with my final thoughts on Bolt version 2. So that was my breakdown of Bolt version 2, and hopefully you can see the power of these 3 huge features that they've added behind the scenes. It may not look much on the surface, it just seems like the standard sort of vibe coding tool, but underneath there's a lot of things going on that really help make this one of the best, if not the best, all-in-one vibe coding platform for building web apps. And the reason that it works so well is because 1, it's got access to Claude Code and Codex as its primary coding agent, and so that's going to increase the quality of the code that's generated, reduce the amount of bugs, and also allow you to build much more complex applications inside of Bolt. Second, it gives you the scalable infrastructure of a Supabase database, backend, and authentication behind the scenes in the Bolt platform without having to connect that yourself. And third, it uses Netlify to allow you to publish your app to a custom domain without having to do that somewhere else or use a separate service. And also gives you the confidence that that is going to be able to scale to thousands of users if you need it to. One of the extra little things that I think is really good here as well from Bolt is that they do allow you to actually migrate your database from Bolt onto a Supabase instance if you do want to, and if you do want to take the code for your app somewhere else to work on it in a different tool. And you always have that GitHub integration so that you can get all of your code into GitHub if you need to. So I honestly think this is probably the best platform right now if you're looking to start building your app and you don't know what tool to get started with. Bolt is really going to give you the best quality coding, the best chance at success with your web app, and also has all of the things that you need built in to a production grade quality. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are building an app with AI, or you've got an idea for an app that you want to build, then head over to school.com/AI apps to check out my community helping people like you to build apps with AI. We've got a course, we've got over 100 members. You can ask any questions and get discounts on AI tools and more. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Build great products. Build great products.